Hey, welcome to Sinister and Simple. Well, Simple and Sinister every day. I'm your host. I'm Ray Burton. I am about to get on a train, so today is a different version of Sinister. Simple. I'm kind of jacked up because I'm in a hurry. So I'm in the bunkhouse gym. I'm a train conductor, and I'm trying to bang this out with dumbbells today, and I'm trying to do it quick. Today should be the day where I do a little bit of rite of passage mixed in, um, but I don't want to do too much shoulder pressing. So I'm going to do that after the camera ends. So because if I end up having to do some auto decks or whatever, actually I'm on a grain train. Anyway, so my shoulder should be okay. Anyways, I'm doing this with dumbbells. And you can see I haven't put on many miles because we got here last night and I went straight to bed, so my knees feel pretty greasy. Plus, I did a little warm up that was different today, and I will show that to you one of these days. Okay, what are we going to cover today? This one's 15 minutes long. There's a couple things. I want to cover walking like a Russian, and I want to cover the importance of today in bite sized chunks. And what was the last one? Oh, about worrying. Okay, so let's start off with walking like a Russian. So this is right out of the book, Pavel's book, Simple and Sinister, because okay, I want to see what I should explain what I'm doing here. So I did everything with the dumbbell first, and then I wanted to show you could do it with plates too. I actually started out with plates and dumbbells because I couldn't find a kettlebell during this whole thing we've been through over the last couple of years. Weights were hard to get, so I started off doing it with the plates and the dumbbells, and it was really actually it was fine, and it actually led me to some other things that I want to show you here. I'm just going through the basic warm up here of the halos, the goblet squats, and the bridges, and I'll tell you what's up after that. Okay, so with the walking like a Russian, out of the book. So apparently, Pavel's wife noticed that Americans walk different than Russians, and I never thought about it. But my father and my grandfather were perfect examples of walking like Americans, even though we're Canadians. I'm just saying Americans as far as North Americans. Uh, when we get older, it's this kind of like bent over, hinged at the hip, permanently sort of walk where you're kind of like falling forward, and it looks like if at any second anything touched your toe, you'd fall on your face. And I actually noticed that I was starting to get it, and I was almost starting to do it like unilaterally, where I was like dipping on my right quite a bit. It's still there if I don't pay attention to it, and you'll probably see it every now and then when I get relaxed and I don't think about it and I'm walking in front of the camera. um, I went from 25 to 35 here just to show you there's some difference in the widths. And this is how I used to load plates in my truck when we were doing the outdoor boot camps, and we would work out with just plates because I had so many of them and I could accommodate the class. Anyways, so North Americans walking as if they're falling forward. So, but when you look at the Russians walk, and it's not just Russians. Actually, if you look at like the whole McGregor walk, like when you in UFC when he goes in the ring, it's that hips forward, like you're leading with your hips and your belly. And so I started doing that, and it makes an incredible difference. I think sometimes we think about walking with our chest out, and by doing that, we're leading with the chest forward. And I think this is really important for men 40 plus specifically, that when you walk with that chest up, it's kind of forward, you're kind of falling forward. But if you kind of just tuck your ribs in, get straight, and then try to lead with your hips, it feels incredibly weird at first because you got to think you've been walking like this for however long it took you to get kind of broken forward. You'll all of a sudden find that you're sort of pulling yourself. So you're leading with your hips, but you're kind of pushing with your glutes and your hamstrings. I just wanted you to see there that without squeezing a yoga block, my knees would tend to go out on the bridges. And you actually want to keep your knees squeezing inward, or you'll end up walking super bow-legged, which is something that happened to me. So for men 40 plus, start walking like a Russian. That's what we'll just kind of code it as that. So keep your ribs in, chest up, posture, and start walking with your hip bones basically, or your belly, whichever works for you, and just try it. and you'll notice the difference. A lot of pains will go away because you're kind of really walking like a gorilla. Roll the shoulders back, keep the ribs in, walk like a gorilla. That's probably more politically correct in these times to say, because you never know what country's going to do something. Okay, so what else do we got here? Oh, this day, I like this. So I said this in my other one, but it's really important, I think, as we get busy and things get crazy, to remember these words that I heard from Earl Nightingale, and he got it from a translated Sanskrit saying, and it says, "Look well to this day." This is the name of it, kind of like a carpe diem thing. Carp! So it says, "Look well to this one day, for it and it alone is life. In the brief course of this one day lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the pride of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. Yesterday is only a dream. Tomorrow is but a vision." You could flip those around, whatever. The point is, they're in your brain. "Yet each day well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and each tomorrow a vision of hope. So look well, therefore, to this one day, for it and it alone is life." Because if you think forward, like, eventually, the future is going to be what you're feeling as today. And if you don't start living today, you'll be at the end of it, and it's gone. So pluck the day, because it's right, and trusting as little as possible in tomorrow. And just make the most of the day, and think about it too, like when all the crazy things happen, that it's just today, man. Like, and whoever's messing up your existence by ruining today, if they get enough of today's in a row, they are possibly messing up your life. Okay, so back to the video, because I had to pull up something else so I could remember that. Oh, yeah, okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. These are, okay, so Dan John calls them goat bag swings, but goat bag swings to me have always been a sort of crescent-shaped, moon-shaped bag that you swing around your head like the halos, but I mean, whatever. I guess Dan John's been doing it for probably 15, 20 more years than I have. I've only been doing it for 20, 25. Anyways, so squeeze your shoulder blades together. I'm trying here. And I actually find that by pushing it into my sternum, I have to flex my abs. And I find my hinge is way better than actually my kettlebell swing. And I would stick to these, except for in my brain, I can't reconcile the fact that I'm supposed to do 100 kettlebell swings and how to translate that into these goat bag swings, or what I would just call basically stiff leg deadlift, but with a dumbbell in my stomach. So we're going to call them goat bag swings because that's what everybody's calling them. So anyways, I find those goat bag swings to be way more effective at targeting my glutes and my hamstrings right now than the kettlebell swings. But I'm doing the kettlebell swings because the goal is to get to the Sinister from Simple and Sinister. But having said that, every now and then, if I feel like I want to, I may just bang out 5 sets of just 1 rep short of failure on the goat bag swings just to regroove the pattern. And I would suggest that if you're new to this, and so like maybe Turkish get-ups, maybe squats, they all hurt. Like your knees aren't working, your hips aren't working or anything like that, or your walking pattern is off, I would really suggest that you not do the swings yet, and that you go and do these goat bag swings here. Dan John would call them like a grind versus a ballistic, and I don't think you should go to ballistics. Like, you shouldn't be jumping if you can't squat. You know what I mean? So just a sec, I'm going to shake up my shake here because I got to kind of get things rolling and get on that train. Hold on. Okay. That's a Vega shake I'm having there. Vegan protein. Not that it matters because I eat eggs too. But okay, so here I'm doing them again, and I'm telling you, I can feel my glutes and my hamstrings on those like nobody's business. Whereas the swings, I can feel it, but I'm doing like, I don't even know what percentage that would be of more. because so I'm doing like maybe 5 sets of 5 here. And I'm alternating them today, as you can see with the Turkish get-ups, because I'm trying to bang this out quick. Anyways, I would suggest those. They're really important, and they were fundamental in regrooving my hip pattern. So what was the next thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, worries only exist in the future. Who said that? Now, what was it? You know what? It was more about that live to this day sort of thing, but it was, shoot. I wish I knew his name, but it's coming out of my head now. He's the other Pavel on Instagram. Pavel Maycom? Maycom? Let me see if I can pull it up. Just a sec here. Cancel. Pavel. 2 secs, man. Just give me a sec. There he is. I wish I knew how to pronounce this better, and I'm sorry for it, but it's Pavel Macecom? Macekcom. Anyway, he just got his Sinister level on Simple and Sinister, which is pretty awesome. So anyway, what he said in his post, it was Seneca. I'm probably screwing every one of these names, but that's okay. It's more important that I get this out there. So it talks about there are things likely to frighten us, and there are things likely to crush us, but we suffer more often in imagination than reality. I thought that was cool because what he advises is to not be unhappy before the crisis comes. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if you're interested, let me know in the comments, and what I will do is I will post it up down there, maybe even with that poem or saying there. If you want it, just let me know in the comments. So anyway, don't worry about the crisis until it comes. And you know, if there's one thing I'm taking away from this whole train conductor thing, it's actually that. Because, oh shoot, we're almost done. Because there's so many times, like coming into the yard, there's so many tracks I could be going to. There's so many different situations that could happen, things I would encounter. And for a whole, 6, 8, 10-hour train ride, depending on the trip, I could be thinking about these things, like filling myself up with anxiety of messing up, like hitting a wrong switch, like running a light. There's so many possibilities. And I'll stew on these. And I'm so much better now because half of the time it doesn't even happen. Half of the time we pull in and they're like, go to the main track and change off. And I don't have to do anything. And so I was worried the whole trip when I could have been just enjoying the train ride. Instead, I've been running possibilities, scenarios, and I think a lot of that has to do with being ex-military, and I'm sure first responders or any of the paramilitary groups that are high on diligence probably experience this. That's something I should talk about later, actually, for vets and things like that. I think paramedics and firefighters and police would probably have it even more, though, because half of us military guys, while we may go on tour, some of us don't see super combat or anything super traumatic, but I guess that's all relative. But you get super diligent trying to run all the possible scenarios for survival reasons or prevention of catastrophic events. And so when you come into normal life, you keep it turned on. And if you don't turn it off, you're anxious all the time. And before you know it, you've been anxious about future events that never happened, and all your todays have accumulated into a chunk of span of lifetime. And if you continue that on, when you die, you'll be like, that was awesome. I spent my whole life anxious. So the kind of scenario I've come to is these Turkish get-ups, by the way, with a dumbbell are, I find, way harder than with a kettlebell, because if it drifts in any direction, it feels like it goes way off. I'm running out of time. Anyways, I wanted to just say, try not to worry about the crises in the future, but just develop your strength so that you're strong enough to deal with anything that happens, and trust in your abilities to deal. And if it comes down to competence, just make sure you're really good at your job, and then you don't have to worry about things that'll come up. So let me know about any questions below, and that's it for today. a quickie, a version, ask me any questions. Talk to you later. Bye.